All right, so welcome back from the quick break. You're still live on the morning focus from now to exactly 10:30, where with Pat Company will bring you nothing but the finest of what needs to be done. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. Matthew 4:4. There are moments in life when we look fine on the outside, but deep within, we know we are running low. We continue working, we continue serving, we continue showing up for our families, our responsibilities, and our engagement. Yet, somewhere along the way, the demands of life begins to drain our spiritual strength. And that is why we must learn to refuel. A phone cannot function indefinitely on an empty battery. A vehicle cannot keep moving without fuel. In the same way, our spirit cannot continually give, serve, endure, and overcome without returning to the one who gives us strength. Jesus reminds us that man shall not live by bread alone. And I want you to think about this. But we've got 10 more days to the 30th anniversary celebration. 10 more days to go. Somebody will say, wow, just now. Yeah. The 30th anniversary, 10 more days to go. So you check us out. Great is his faithfulness. Lamentation 3:23. 30 years, countless testimonies, one faithful God. God has brought us this far, and we will take this and will take us further. 30th anniversary. Well, let me welcome into the studio Sir Bernard Agbemo Eduji. A very good morning to you, Bernard.
Good morning, El.
How are you doing?
It is the last working day in the week. Can't be more excited. I'm doing very well and hope you are too.
I'm fine by His grace.
Great.
30th anniversary celebration, like I said, great is His faithfulness. Lamentation chapter 3, the verse 23, 30 years, countless testimonies, one faithful God. God has brought us this far. God will take us further today. So we're looking at the faithfulness of God. And if you go through the Maranatha, the faithfulness of God, great is your faithfulness, and your message begins afresh each morning. We are getting closer to a historic celebration. 30 years of ministry, 30 years of testimonies, 30 years of challenges overcome, 30 years of God's unfailing faithfulness. People may change, circumstances may change, seasons may change, but God remains faithful. Today, we celebrate God who has carried the Maranatha Power Ministries International from its beginning to this moment. And if He has been faithful for 30 years, we can trust Him with the rest of the years ahead. The faithfulness of God, we can always trust Him. And this morning on our daily devo, great is His faithfulness. What does faithfulness mean? Let me start with Bernard. What does faithfulness mean? Being faithful. What does it mean?
Faithfulness to me means dependable, reliable. He says something and He does it. He says He will keep you and He keeps you. He says He will meet your needs and He meets your needs. So He's absolutely dependable. You can depend on God, you can rely on God, you can trust Him absolutely. And that is to me what
the faithfulness is all about.
Yes.
Yeah, faithfulness.
Yeah.
And if you look at the theme verse, it said 30 years of God's goodness and faithfulness.
Because, God says that I'll build my church. I was listening last week, yes, you were not here last week. We brought two pastors from the Maranatha Power Ministries, and they were sharing some of the stories, how from the beginning the man of God faced enormous oppositions, difficulties. Like people said, you can't do it here, spiritual attacks. But God said, I'll build my church, and the gate of hate cannot prevail against it. And that is what God's faithfulness means. Has he built his church? Yes, he has. He has built the church. The church is standing strong. That is what faithfulness means. When God says, I will do something, you can take God by his word because he is faithful to keep his word. Yeah.
He is faithful to keep his word. Faithfulness means being dependable and trustworthy. When we say God is faithful, we are declaring that God can be trusted. Jeremiah wrote about God's faithfulness during a difficult season. Yet even in the middle of a hardship, he recognized something powerful. God's mercy has not ended.
Yeah.
Every morning brought new evidence of God's grace. The same is true for Maranatha Power Ministries International. Looking back over 30 years, there has been difficult moments. There has been, but there are also countless reasons to say, great is your faithfulness. As I'm looking back over 30 years, there have been difficult moments.
Yeah.
But there are also countless reasons to say, great is your faithfulness.
Countless.
If God brought you through yesterday, you can trust him with today.
Yeah.
If he has sustained you today, you can trust him with tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
This morning, I want us to do something very beautiful by praying together and say, Heavenly Father, we thank you for your unfailing faithfulness. Thank you for sustaining Maranatha Power Ministries International for 30 years and for every life you have touched through this ministry. As we enter a new chapter, help us to trust you completely and remain faithful to your calling. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
And I invite you to be part of the 30th anniversary celebration. I want you to declare this morning by saying, great is God's faithfulness towards me.
Yeah.
His mercy is new every morning.
Every morning.
And I will trust him with my past, my present, and my future.
Yeah.
And I would love it for you to have the Maranatha Countdown devotion. It's a powerful devotion you can always rely on. And also remember to be part of it as we celebrate the 30 years of God's goodness. God has been good to us. Today is a mega all night. The mega all night that will herald in the homecoming as well. So the mega all night is coming off today exactly 9 p.m. sharp, 10 p.m. sharp. All road leads to the Maranatha Power Ministry International, where we'll lift our hearts and voices to give to God our Maker and cry aloud and give to God the praise of our salvation. Bible said, and God inhabits the praise of his people. That is why Bible said, in all things give thanks. In all things, the good, the ugly, the bad, you want to say, thank you. Thank you to God Almighty. Thank you to God Almighty. That is what you have to say, because God inhabits the praise of his people. So the moment you begin to say, we give thanks, God inhabits those praises. It doesn't matter the circumstances, but always the atmosphere you create around the circumstances will make God to step into the equation. It's very important for you to create an atmosphere that God will step in, that God will leave his throne room perspective and come and answer to you directly. And that is what we need you to be part of the mega all night tonight as we prepare towards the homecoming. Tonight's mega all night is extraordinary. You know, it keep moving from levels to level. And now trust me, I don't know what is holding you. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you are going through. But I can assure you that there's a miracle that is awaiting you at the auditorium this Friday at 10 p.m. Just come to the convention ground today at the Maranatha Power Ministries International behind the Lekma Polyclinic, exactly 10 a.m. Sorry, 10 p.m. And let's agree with you. Bible said if two shall agree, let's agree with you and pray together. And God will answer you. And God will speak for you. And God will lead the way. And God will make the crooked straight. And God will make the mountains skip. And will lower the valleys. And God will set you on a high. Because he said, you are a city set on high. He said, out of your belly shall flow the rivers of water. Has he said it and he will not do it? He's a God that knows the end from the beginning. As you go through the process, I pray that God's grace will be sufficient unto you as you lead through and through. May God bless you. And I look forward to seeing you at the Maranatha Power Ministry tonight at 10 p.m. for the mega all night. Then don't forget that the homecoming is coming up as well. Sunday we have church service, 2 services. The first is an English service at exactly 7 a.m. Then 9 a.m. we have the GAM pre-mix, the mixed bag service at 9 a.m. all happening at the Maranatha Power Ministries International here in Nungwa Adogono, behind the Lekma Polyclinic. That is where the church auditorium is located. Now, reminding ourselves of the homecoming, which is starting on the 28th of August next week. And then on Saturday, we have the Jesus March around the Prince God Street to showcase what the Lord, see what the Lord has done. When we have our back against the wall, God came through for us. And that is happening on the 28th route through the 30th of August 2026. So be part. If you've passed through the church, you have been there before, you've come to one of our services, wherever you are, you've watched us all these years, and you want to be a partaker of the homecoming, we invite you. Don't just sit at home. Come, let's celebrate the goodness and the faithfulness of God, of the Impactful Ministries. And that is coming up next week. We'll tell you more as we unfold and go forward to it. At the first, we have 10 more days to the big one itself, the 30th anniversary. We'll tell you more of that. A very good morning to you, Bishop Noble Francis Afotuoda and Reverend Mrs. Valerie Afotuoda and the entire family and the entire clergy of the ministry, Pastor Ashite, Pastor Ablo, Ma Julie, and the entire clergymen of the Maranatha Power Ministry. Wish a very good morning to you and thanks for supporting us. And that brings us to exactly 2 minutes more to hit the 8th hour of the day. I want to say thank you. Be part of it. God bless you all for staying with us. We're moving on now. We're going straight away to look at our headline stories. The headlines, the stories behind the headlines. We try to unveil that this morning, and quickly running you through this morning. We start with the Insight newspaper. The Insight newspaper has this headlines. It says, why Mahama's Jamaica visit opens a new Atlantic maritime door. And he has the president and also that of the Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica, Jah Rastafari is there. And then the foreign minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa are also on the front page of the Inside newspaper. Feed Ghana reforms put agriculture on track, says Arise Ghana calls for greater accountability. NPP falls on own dagger. Is the NPP falls on own dagger as Wontumi eyes national chairmanship from prison. Oh my, that's a fantastic one. Let me give you a excerpt of that story. The New Patriotic Party, NPP, is facing an extraordinary political dilemma as its former Ashanti Regional Chairman, Bernard N.P. Bosia, known as Chairman Wontumi, moves ahead with his bid to become the party's next national chairman while serving a 20 years prison sentence. Wontumi's campaign team says his incarceration will not derail his ambition. Oh my, I love that. The man has guts, isn't it?
He does.
Well, on unworthy of comments, the DPRK rebuts triumphs over 10. Page 9 has the story. Clever Tool accuses Ablekuma West MP of encroaching on palace land. Chinese embassy commends Ghana about Chamber of Commerce for donating sports items towards national constituency games. The Ghana Medical Trust Fund Atlantic Life Science explore a local production of cancer and heart machines to cut treatment costs. So these are the headlines on the Inside newspaper this morning.
All right, the Daily Graphic, the mother of all newspapers, truth and accuracy every day. There is a very important story on the front page that I would like to take access of. But before that, 20.5 billion Ghana cedi irregularities rock public institutions. That is on page 13 of the Daily Graphic. Don't reduce journalism to contest for attention. Serve public needs. Kwesi Pratt, the veteran journalist, is charging all of us in this enterprise. And then the big story here, unsavory social media commentary, dangerous. President Mahama to religious leaders. Let me take access of that story by Gomwa Fete. Sorry, from Emmanuel Boni in Gomwa Fete. President John Dramani Mahama has called on religious leaders to be measured in their public comments in order to promote national unity and cohesion. He said, a careless statement made from the pulpit in the mosque or posted online could travel very rapidly, stressing that the country's cherished religious tolerance should not be taken for granted. It can inflame passion and cause damage far beyond what the speaker intended, the president said at the opening of the Assemblies of God Ghana's 32nd Biennial General Council meeting at the Pentecost Convention Center at Gomwa Fete near Kaswa in the Central Region yesterday. Over 5,000 members of the church are attending the event, which is on the theme, the faith of our fathers for authenticity and greater exploit, etc. of that story.
All right, let's move away from the Daily Graphic. Let's go straight on to the phone line this morning. How much should you sacrifice for your partner is what we want to look at. Now, let's begin the conversation a little closer to home. Love is often described as sacrifice. We are told that if you truly love someone, you should be willing to give. Give your time, give your money, give your opportunities, give your support. Sometimes even give up your dreams. But here is a difficult question. How much sacrifice is healthy in a relationship? At what point does sacrifice become self-neglect? And when does supporting your partner becomes carrying the entire relationship? And should love requires you to constantly put your own needs aside? This morning, we are having that conversation with Nathaniel the Optimist, joining us via the phone. He's joining us by phone. Nathaniel, good morning and welcome to the Morning Focus. Hello, good morning, Nathaniel. Well, so whilst waiting for Nathaniel to come, we'll get him back online. Now, let's do the Ghanaian Publisher. The Ghanaian Publisher says the committee uncovers massive rot at Ademos, with a picture of Angela List and also the sector minister Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa. Let's make Bawumia president in 2028 Go Cartel constituency chairman. Upon Nkrumah injection, Supreme Court rules today. You have the Chief Justice Bafo Boni and also upon Nkrumah on the front pages of the Republic, the Ghanaian Publisher on that. Do we have Nathaniel back online? All right, so now let's move to Nathaniel. Like I said, how much should you sacrifice for your partner is a question we asked them this morning. Now, let's bring the conversation a little closer to home. Love is often described as sacrifice. We are told that if you truly love someone, you should be willing to give. Give your time, give your money, give your opportunities, give your support. Sometimes even give up your dreams. But here is a difficult question. How much sacrifice is healthy in a relationship? And at what point does sacrifice become self-neglect? And when does supporting your partner becomes carrying the entire relationship? And should love requires you to constantly put your own needs aside? This morning we are having that conversation, like I said earlier, with Nathaniel joining us by phone. Nathaniel, good morning.
Good morning, Al.
And welcome to the Morning Focus.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Now,
I hope you guys are doing well.
I'm fine by His grace.
It sounds good.
Let's start with the basic question. What does healthy sacrifice in a relationship actually looks like?
Hello, Al.
Yes, sir.
Please can you take that again?
I'm asking that. Let's start with a basic question this morning. What does healthy sacrifice in a relationship actually looks like? How does it look?
Okay, what if I have you right? What does healthy sacrifice mean, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Al, thank you very much for having me. Thank you to your station for caring so much about home, caring about relationships, having this segment on your show. And I must say that let me say a very good morning to all our lovely viewers and listeners. And a very warm good morning to Anad, who I know is listening. So, let me see how I can give a certain answer that most people really with. The Bible says we should love and love as ourselves. And you can't give what you don't. So healthy sacrifice is when you understand the reasons you want to make. Sacrifice is not the same as being irrational. And that is the basic. Whatever it is that you're going to sacrifice, ask yourself why you are sacrificing what you are sacrificing and to what end. And for people who think that sacrifice is great and want to make the example of Jesus Christ on the cross, which was the ultimate sacrifice, let me bust their bubble by saying that the Bible says we're created in the image and likeness of God. So the reason why Christ went to the cross is because when Christ sees us, He sees Himself in us. This morning I'm really reading in this biblical, right? So Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, which is the ultimate sacrifice, like the scripture says, was made so that we, who were once in Him, will return to Him. That is basically what it is. So, whenever you're going to sacrifice, you need to ask yourself why you are sacrificing. To what end? So whenever you find yourself sacrificing without asking yourself why you are sacrificing, into what end, it might turn out to be very healthy. That means that you are going to be giving what you don't have. And whenever you find yourself giving what you don't have, then it comes to either a thief or unreasonable. And so healthy sacrifice is when you give what you have out of rationality. That's sacrifice. Before anybody comes at me, and if I have 1,000 Ghana cedis, and that's supposed to be mine, and I choose to give you 200 Ghana cedis or 300 Ghana cedis out of it, and you feel because I didn't give you all, it's not sacrifice enough. That 1,000 Ghana cedis you forget, it was mine anyway, and I could have chosen to do whatever I want with it. So giving you 100 cedis or 200 cedis out of it is still sacrifice enough. The sacrifice is giving what you have. Jesus Christ had life that he could share on the cross for our salvation. And that was why he did what he did. If his life meant nothing for our salvation, I don't think he would have gone to the cross. So what he had was what he did. That is what sacrifice is.
Now, how do you know?
Please go ahead.
Right, I was asking that how do you know when you are sacrificing, or if you are sacrificing for love, how do you know you are sacrificing for love? And when are you simply losing yourself in a relationship?
Okay. So, you don't have an iPhone. Then somebody is demanding an iPhone. And you go ahead and buy the iPhone for the person. It's not like you don't like an iPhone. Then I'm going to your dream phone. But you don't have one yet. For very obvious reasons. You don't have what it takes to get it. But somebody is in your life demanding an iPhone. And you go ahead and get the iPhone. That is most stupid sacrifice. Because you can't get what you don't have. So sacrificing much in relationship or irrational in relationship is giving what you don't have. And whenever you hear about people having a good heart, it is because they went ahead of themselves. When anybody tells you that love is supposed to help, you shouldn't hear them as though they are saying that love means kill yourself for somebody. That is being irrational. You can't do what you don't have. So whenever you have people, crying and weeping and all that, it's because they gave what they didn't have. It's as simple as that. The last time we had a female conversation, I gave a distinction between commitment and involvement. Sacrificing more than what you have, or over-sacrificing, or what you want to say as when sacrifice becomes a burden, is when your sacrifice is born out of involvement and not out of commitment. You didn't really understand what it is that you were doing. You only felt that you did that because of love. No, but you did that because of out of selfishness. Over-sacrificing is also tantamount to selfishness. You are doing that so that regardless of who you are, you will be accepted. And that is tantamount to over-sacrificing. So that's when you know that you're over-sacrificing. When you give what you don't have.
When you give what
you give out of involvement and not out of commitment.
But what happens when one partner is always giving whilst the other is always taking?
So you see, giving must always be consequence for what you have. So if my giving is based on the fact that I have something to share, it's normal. But if my giving is born out of me not having, yet giving what it is that I don't have, whereas the other person is just being a recipient, then obviously it's a problem. Giving by itself should be by a measure of what it is that I have. So yes, you can be with someone and you are the one giving. If your giving is out of what it is that you have and the other person isn't, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. Because you see, love is a giving. when you say you love someone, it means that you want to be there for the person, you want to be there for their needs, you want to be there for their worries, and so on and so forth. If you have someone not reciprocating, and you feel that their inability to reciprocate is equal to a signal that you are seeing that they don't love you, then that in itself can be problematic. But being the only one who gives in and by itself doesn't mean that there's anything wrong. Because if you're giving out of the fact that you are committed to this person and you see their needs as your needs, and you're not doing it out of, quote unquote, foolishness, sorry, on radio, but you're doing it because you have something to share, in and by itself, it's nothing wrong. And that is me talking about material. There are certain things that by all means must be shared, or if you want to use the word, must be sacrificed. That is, i.e., your time, because that is something everybody has. You know, your fidelity, that is something everybody has. So when you're in a relationship with someone, and the person is able to give their fidelity, I want to specify, we are talking about giving and sacrifice, so we want to specify what it is that we are talking about in terms of the sacrifice we are talking about. Fidelity is a sacrifice. Care and concern is a sacrifice. Our time is a sacrifice. But these ones are things that everybody has, especially when it comes to relationships, and should be at the disposal of the other person. So if you're in a relationship and you find your partner not able to sacrifice fidelity or put fidelity at your disposal, have it as a given to you, then that can be a problem. But when it comes to material, somebody not giving you what you are giving them cannot be equated to the person not being interested or anything of that sort. Because we all have to give out of what it is that we have. But when it comes to the soft things, I like to call them the soft things. Our love, our fidelity, our truthfulness, and so on and so forth. These ones must be part of the sacrifice that everybody should be able to give. Yeah.
Being part of that sacrifice that everybody is supposed to give, you by talking about financial aspect of it. Can financial sacrifice become a source of resentment in relationships? Hello, Nat?
Yes, L.
Yeah, Nat.
Yes, I didn't hear you.
Now, I was asking that can financial sacrifice becomes a source of resentment in relationships?
Yes. So, like I said, without the risk of sounding repetitive, if it is something you are able to do, but you refuse to do, and your refusal is born out of wickedness, is born out of selfishness. Because don't forget, as we talk about all these things, there's a thin line. Yeah. There's a thin line between being reasonable and being selfish.
Okay.
If you don't know what resources are supposed to be used for, then there's a likelihood that you are being selfish and not really being reasonable.
Okay.
And that can be problematic. So yes, if I have a demand and you promise that, okay, you are going to meet the demand, and I don't see anything forthcoming, that can be interpreted as resentment. At least, I mean, that can lead to resentment, I should say. Because you see, if you request of somebody something, and the person gives you a word, and it's not even coming immediately, I mean, there should be an explanation. There should be some reassurance that, okay, whatever it is that we spoke about, I'm still very much committed to it, just that I have not been able to get what it takes to be able to do it. That's reasonable. But where clearly it is wickedness, you see it as wickedness. You see it as the person not, I mean, just intentionally not trying to meet what it is that you are talking about, then there can be a problem. And it can lead to resentment, obviously. Yeah.
But how important it is, how important are boundaries in relationship where both partners genuinely love each other?
You might want to take that. Sorry, I didn't hear that clearly.
How important are boundaries in a relationship where both partners genuinely love each other?
Okay, boundaries.
Yeah.
So for me, the only boundaries we should have in relationships are boundaries that are reserved for our personal growth. Those are the only boundaries that I think are allowed in relationships. Because by virtue of you being married, there are definitely certain things that would that cannot be barricaded. You cannot barricade them.
Okay.
And there are other things that, if it has to do just with your growth. So let me give examples. I have always had a childhood dream of being a lawyer. I started thinking about it and working on it. I have not really been able to get the resources yet to pursue it. Then I get married. I still have that dream. That should be a boundary that must be respected. So, for instance, if your partner says that, okay, I don't think I will want you to be a lawyer, that is a breach of a certain boundary that I think should be a preserve of the individuals in the relationship. This is a personal goal that will not hamper the growth of our relationship in any way. I mean, what I mean by that is, it is not detrimental to the growth of a marriage. It's a career path, and it's something that I would like to do. So when it gets to this point, then this is clearly a boundary that is supposed to be kept by the individual, which is being breached. Another aspect is, let's say that you are somebody who always care about your personal dignity. You care so much about how people see you. And then your partner begins to infringe on this particular value that you have by abusing you, either verbally or physically or whatever it is. That is a boundary that is being broken. So when I say there are some boundaries that ought to be kept, these are boundaries that help us in our personal growth. The last time I was saying that the fact that we are married doesn't necessarily mean that all of a sudden there is nothing about us anymore. Everything is about the union. You trade off your personal growth just for the purpose of the marriage. It will go, in the long run, it's going to hurt you. Because, you see, we can't abandon ourselves entirely. It's just for a moment. And it will come back at us, hurting us, and making us feel that we've not lived a worthwhile life. So marriage should not be the end of people pursuing things that really give them excitement. And these are things I call boundaries. So if I want to be a surgeon, and this has been my dream, marriage should not hamper that particular growth. So I only see boundaries as things that are reserved for our personal growth and development. Apart from that, if it has to do with my health, the health of a person in the marriage should not be a boundary. Because your health, a failing health can be a cause of worry to both parties. So it mustn't be a boundary. And that's what I mean by a lot of things cease to be boundaries once people are married. The only thing that remain boundaries are things that are preserves of our personal growth.
Okay.
So let's say that, another example before you come in. Siesta. Let's say I am on retirement and I always like to have my afternoon sleep. This is a boundary that ought to be respected. This is just some few hours that I also can just have for myself, to recover, to feel good in my skin and all that. If you're saying that all because we are married, I shouldn't have that, that is, infringing on the person's boundary. So these are just boundaries that I think should still remain. Apart from that, where I'm going, what I'm doing, in terms of I'm out there doing something, my partner should know. This is not supposed to be, how do you call it, a barrier or anything like that. it should be in the open. Yeah.
It should be in the open. Finally, what is one thing people should never sacrifice, even for someone they deeply love?
When is somebody...
I'm saying that what is one thing people should never sacrifice, even for someone they deeply love?
It's difficult. It's difficult to give a prescription. And I can't say the or don't some no. I hope I got that right. So one thing that somebody can call the greatest sacrifice can be somebody else's least sacrifice.
I mean, they should never. One thing they should never sacrifice.
Yes, it will be difficult to give a prescription, L. That's because what one values, the other doesn't. So, for example, if I see that never give your kidney to a partner in love. I mean, and you are talking to somebody who feels that to have lived a fulfilled life is to have lived up to the age of 30 or 45, or to have had a certain amount of money in your bank account. This advice to somebody like that will mean nothing, because for them, they haven't died already anyway. They don't care if they die in the next minute. So that might not be the biggest sacrifice for them. So for you to be able to determine what you should never sacrifice, just go by this rule. Am I giving what I don't really have? For me, that would be a prescription. So for the young men and young women out there, in order to prevent yourself from having a broken leg or a broken nose or a broken heart, never give what you don't have. It is not called being stingy. It is called being wise. And the young lady out there who is thinking that, okay, let me just play on the women's court this morning a little. For the young lady who feels that you are demanding an iPhone from this gentleman and he's not able to get it for you, and that means that he doesn't love you. Just ask yourself, would you want to hear that this person is indebted and that is going to take him to prison? This person that you claim you love, would you want to hear that later on? So yes, my advice to people is never to sacrifice what you don't have. It is not called sacrifice then. It's because stupidity, excuse my language. So if you know what you should never, ever sacrifice, it is not giving what it is that you don't have. So let me tell you something that I would never do.
Okay,
I would never sacrifice. And it's still within the same rule that I've just given.
Okay.
Giving what is my mom's to my wife, it is something I would never do. I would never sacrifice. And guess what the twin sister of that particular, what I just said is, I would never give what is my wife's to my mom.
Right.
So you see that it's really very subjective. You can't give a fast rule to it. But your determining factor or your determining rule should be, am I giving what I don't have out? That is the greatest sacrifice. Because everybody's greatest sacrifice will be different from the next person. And so we can't really give a fast rule. You can say somebody's mobile money PIN, but he has another account that is separate from the mobile money PIN. So it means nothing still. So it just has to do with whoever it is that is involved and the rule of not giving what it is that you don't have. That would be a prescription. So if your wife is asking for a car and you don't have the money to do it, and you think they're going to take a loan that you don't even know how you're going to service it, will lead you into a very deadly situation. That is something you should never sacrifice. And this can be different from person to person. Yeah.
It can be different from person to person. Thank you once more time, Nathaniel, for joining us on the Morning Focus. It's always a privilege hanging out with you every Friday.
Thank you very much, El, for having me. Thanks for the opportunity to share. And we pray and hope that the little that we share will go a long way to help listeners who always make time to hear us every morning. Because in doing this, we are building the society in one way or the other. Thank you very much. Regards to Bernard.
Right. Thank you so much to our resource person Nathaniel, the Optimex, talking with us, and that is a conversation many people can relate to, because sometimes the hardest thing about loving someone is knowing where love ends and self-abandonment begins. That is one of the greatest things, because sometimes the hardest thing about loving someone is knowing where love ends and self-abandonment begins. And that takes us back. A big thank you once again to Nathaniel and to our viewers out there. We go back to look at some of the news headlines, and then right after that we go into a commercial break. We come back. There's another conversation coming up. We're trying to talk to lawyer KK Sebe to find out. So MCR, if you could work on Sebe for us, just pick some 5 minutes of his thoughts about the rebuilding of his party after the regional contest is gone. Now we're done with the publisher, right? The Ghanaian publisher. So the next is a daily guide.
Let me take the daily guide. It says that I am not under any probe. General Pompepra, General, I think, is the former head of the Ghana Forces, Chief of Defense Staff or something like that, I think. Engineers to shape Ghana's policy direction, that is according to the flag bearer for the New Patriotic Party for the 2028 election, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. Supreme Court rules on selective vacation sitting injunction today. El, you know the interesting thing? So the Supreme Court has been petitioned to rule on this matter. And guess what? The Chief Justice is supposed to empanel judges who are supposed to be on vacation. This is like an irony. So the petitioner couldn't wait. If indeed he's championing legal vacation, he couldn't wait for the vacation to be over for this case to be, heard. He petitioned the court, which is supposed to be on vacation, to empanel them to rule on whether vacation is right or not. I mean,
but the point is this: that irrespective of whether they are vacation, there have been some selected cases that have been
absolutely.
So he also felt that this is the time for
then he shouldn't have any problem when the Chief Justice empanels people.
Yeah, if you are empaneling people, then empanel people to talk about this matter. That's
right.
About it.
So the case in question is the Supreme Court is empaneling people to head whether calling judges to rule or to sit on a case during legal vacation is right. Then, so it means for this particular case, it is the same thing the Chief Justice is going to do. He's going to call judges.
The point is that in law, what do you think ordinarily that is normal to you? It doesn't work with law.
How?
Like the way you are thinking that, because he's doing the same thing, that they are complaining that he's calling people to panel to do that. Okay? So it's not the same thing that this case too is going to call people. Once he has started the issue for the shits. That's how.
So then there is no
that is
basis for this.
No, that is why it is with law. You might not think ordinarily.
I mean, this lawyer is just confusing us with all this legal vacation. Anyway,
if we have the audacity to call people in to handle case, then call people in to let's translate.
To listen to this one.
To listen to this.
So then Bernard can.
You can also.
No, not that I can just assume that. The Supreme Court will say yes, it is right.
Yes.
And it is right because even for this petition, I had to call people.
That is it. So when they call and then they rule on against or in favor, then we all come to. That is what makes democracy interesting.
The law itself is just interesting and sometimes confusing. Adamu's lease revocation, ministerial committee findings, tip of the iceberg. It means that there are a lot of things under what we know is just something small. Give us 380 million Ghana cedi locked up funds, mine workers. And these are the stories on the front page of the Daily Guide. Now
let's do the headline as on the Ghanaian, the new publisher with the man of Sahene and also the minority leader in parliament, Alexander Fenyumakis, and they say 1.7 billion gold loss Gold Board cannot pocket fees and disown losses. Minority leader. 2 watchmen interdicted over sexual assault of the SHS girl in that's a Boga girls, right? Supreme Court rules on vacation trials today with a picture of the man Kojo Opong. It's called Vincent Kojo Opong Nkrumah.
Oh, I didn't know he had an English name.
He has an English name.
Yeah, I love him for putting that one aside. We are Africans. We had names before the white man came.
So
anyway.
Kojo's case will be heard, whether it should be selective or you look at all cases. That is what is going to push for. And those are the banner headlines on the new publishing.
Okay, the Metro Lens. Africa Center for Disease Control appoints Arnaud Dompre to Advisory Council. That is on page 6. GJA at 77. Media must adapt to changing economics of digital platforms. That is according to Albert Kwabena Jumfor, the GJA president, also on page 6. GSA cuts car import fees. New rates significantly lower than global PVOC charges. That is on page 9 of the Metro Lens.
All right, so from the Metro Lens, we do the Daily Analyst. The Daily Analyst says mine workers union protest delay in releasing funds belonging to 19,000 miners. We carried the story yesterday with their placards. Arise Ghana urges government to intensify fight against Galamsey. 24-hour secretariat has no control over proposed market, Guzi Tando. Saglemi. Mahama targets 700,000 units by March 2027. First 1,500 units expected by December 2027 with the president there. Don't sacrifice accuracy for clicks. GJA president warns journalists. Galamsey. Methodist Church urges action beyond prayers. Headlines on the Daily Analyst.
Okay. From the Daily Analyst, let me take the Times. Yes, the Ghanaian Times. 10 research into medicines and vaccines. Health Minister urges researchers. That is on page 12 of the Times. GRA deepens use of data to drive revenue growth. That is on page 11. Has a picture of Mrs. Apauklu. SIC Insurance doubles dividend to 20 million Ghana cedis. Targets return to #1 position, and the MD is doing a great job using social media in every post tagging the SIC. Fantastic one. Seed Council seeks stronger seed certification traceability. Stories on the front page of the Ghanaian Times.
Away from the Ghanaian Times, we do the Daybreak newspaper. The Daybreak has this headlines and say, produce evidence upon Prepra dares critics. Professor Atta Prepra fires Sammy Gyamfi over 1.7 billion losses, also on the front page of the Daybreak newspaper.
The Daily Post says 700 Sagleme housing units to be ready by March 2027. That is according to the President, John Dramani Mahama. Story on pages 3 and 5. GMTF, Atlantic Life Sciences, explore local production of cancer and heart medicines to cut treatment costs. And the last one on this front page, Adamus lease revocation. The rot runs deep as Ghana loses millions.
Now we do the Ghanaian point. The Ghanaian point has this headlines: Bawumia, Japanese ambassador discuss digitalization, fintech, AI, food control, and Galamsey. Kesbin, founder of Kesbin Group, dies at age 68. Mr. Kobina Boateng passes on, joins the immortals. May he so rest in peace. Government local content policies about job security, worker protection. Lands Minister assures Ghana Mine Workers Union. Energy sector reforms clears 1.7 billion legacy debt, save 750 million US dollars. Supreme Court rules on Opon's Nkrumah's bid to halt legal vacation trials today. Headline stories on the point.
Let me take the Chronicle. The Chronicle has two stories. The first one says Sammy Gyamfi has not disputed 1.7 billion US dollars loss. That is according to the minority. Revocation of Adamu's license. The inside story has a picture of the Lands and Natural Resource Minister Emmanuel Ama Kofi Boa. And the verse for today is taken from Paul Homa Mienu Etoso Otrokoma Timothy. Eti mienu intichemu eduonu miensa no. Paul Homa Etoso Mienu Otrokoma Timothy ti mienu intichemu eduonu miensa. The book of 2 Timothy, the 2nd chapter, the 23rd verse says that, but avoid foolish and ignorant disputes, knowing that they generate strife. Stories on the front page of the Chronicle.
Now let's do the BFNT. That's the Business and Financial Times newspaper. This morning has this headline stories. The stories behind this headline: the lease revocation. Ademos deprives economy 205 million Ghana citizen taxes and also royalties. Minerals Review Committee reveals. GRA pushes data-driven tax administration to boost revenue mobilization. Revamp SDI supervision. Dr. Etwahene as IMF flags insolvency. SEC thought ESG transparency as key to attracting investments. Those are the headlines on BFNT, the Business and Financial Times.
Okay, let me take the source. Legal vacation. Supreme Court rules on injunction today. Mining lease revoked on assumptions. That is according to Adamus. That is on page 4. I will build government on technical competence. That is according to the flag bearer for the New Patriotic Party 2028 election, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. And the Anodompe story is also captured here. Africa CDC appoints Anodompe as member of CIAC. Gold Board CEO admits 1.7 billion loss, rejects minority blame. Has a picture of the minority leader and the MD for Gold Board captured on the front page of the source.
Away from the source newspaper, we do the Inquisitor revocation of Ademos release. The lease is there, so Ademos revocation of the lease is also on the front page of the Inquisitor. The rout is huge as Ghana loses millions. Smear campaign against Opon Prepare backfires as soldiers reject allegation against former CDS. NPA Deputy Chief Executive Dr. Dramani Berry Bakari laid to rest. May he so rest in peace. Some ministers leaking document on CEOs to NPP. Nanabi reveals. Construction ambassadors founder to be buried tomorrow. May his soul also rest in peace. Headlines on the Inquisitor newspaper.
Daily J says Jackmess and Fit 30 ambulances handed to national security for repairs. Nana Kumia is on the front page, joins NPP first vice chairmanship race. Nana Kumia, you are fit even for the chairmanship. I don't know why you chose to be here. Soldiers defend Opon Pepra over smear campaign. Has a picture of the former chief of defense staff Opon Pepra on the front page. Minority turns heat on Sammy Gyamfi. Gold Board cannot pocket fees and reject losses. Captures the minority leader and Sammy himself. Adamu's lease revocation exposes revenue loss of 205 million Ghana cedis Yes. Stories on the front page of the Daily Gist.
The Supreme newspaper has this headline stories, and it says smear campaign against Opon Prepra, also death backfires as soldiers rally behind the general. GJA at 77, looking for calls for stronger ethical journalism as digital media transforms industry. And we have the High Court orders freeze on ZPay assets amidst winding up petition. Allow incumbent parliamentarians to work in peace, or denoho to parliamentary aspirants. Stories on the Supreme newspaper.
Okay, the Daily Statesman says that Coker urges NPP members to uphold constitution. Comes to the picture of the newly elected Ashanti Regional Minister for the New Patriotic Party. Ghana-US team-up for nuclear future. Ghanaians expect results. The Methodist presiding bishop urges government. Upon Prepra story is also captured here, and then Gold Board and minority leaders back and forth also captured on the front page of the Daily Statesman.
Now we do the New Crusading Guide. The New Crusading Guide has this banner stories, and it's a Great Coal blames 40 Akosombo Volta transmission line for nationwide power cut. It has happened for the second time. Blame game. Fix it and stop this blame game. Leave Upon Prepra alone. It's also that story is also there. We have the horror route at the demo story there. Powerful DBCs want to upstage Boss Energies, lobbying to build a regional depot radiant. So those are the stories that I will enforce discipline to strengthen party structure. Another release charge to legalize, protect African traditional medicines. Headlines on the New Crusading Guide.
The Informer. NPP falls on own dagger as soon to me eyes. I think you've taken this already.
Yeah.
The Custodian. Let me do the Custodian. Asanteman.
No, that story is on the.
Okay, so another newspaper. Yes. All right. Afenyo Makin accuses CJ, alleges grand conspiracy against Tokonu. Afenyo is not done with this Tokonu matter yet. NITA pushes digital revolution beyond ideas, targets nationwide scale. Construction ambassador's boss dies at 54, joins Maker tomorrow. OSP saved Ghana 5.73 billion Ghana cedis in corruption investigations, secured 7 convictions. That is according to the GACC report. I would like to read details of this one, and if it is true, the OSP deserves some commendation. Burkina bound trucks flood Accra. Let me take what is there. Operators allege extortion. NPA boss urged to act. That is on page 7 of the Informer.
Government warns against 24-hour market. Now we do the Custodian newspaper. The Custodians are Santiman Coker stops NPP aspirant from incoming MP mantra. Gold Board can't claim benefits and disown losses. Osahene insists as minority demands probe into the 22 billion Ghana cedis gold trading losses. Ademos owes over 205 million statutory arrears, repatriates $224 million. Committee report. Custodian has the details of the stories.
Okay, so the news center says that, all right, 205 million Ghana cedi arrears, gaps in gold figures, among other breaches, caused revocation of Adamo's license. Report says Sagleme City rises again. LMI homes target 700 homes by March 2027, 1,500 by year end. So by March which is like 7 months away, 700 of those homes will be ready for people to move in. And then by end of year 2027, we should have 1,500 of the units ready. El can go and get one for himself. Mr. Wale can go, Mr. Winans, everyone who is interested can go to Sagleme and buy a unit.
All right, so wrapping up with that before we go for our next commercial break, and the National Voice NDC unleashed attacks dogs on Afenyo Markings over gold board massive 22 billion losses. Let's unite to win 2028 election, Asanteman Koka tells constituency chairman. GJA at 77 do for calls for stronger ethical journalism as a digital media transform industry. Etiwa Marches campaign unveils banner at JCS investigation bust up as painters rolled. And on this note, we go for our next commercial break. We'll be back with a conversation. Don Winers will be joining us right after.
Mr. Speaker, the third key transformational policy reform was the introduction of a complementary fiscal policy to support inflation targeting, ensuring exchange rate stability and building external resilience. Central to this reform was the establishment of the Ghana Gold Board to curb gold smuggling, formalize the gold trade, and ensure that a greater share of Ghana's mineral wealth benefits the Ghanaian people. Through this intervention, Ghana generated an additional 15 billion United States dollars in foreign exchange inflows from gold, significantly strengthening reserve accumulation and supporting exchange rate stability. This single policy measure improved Ghana's current account balance by 6.4 percentage points from a surplus of 1.9% in 2024 to 8.3% in 2025. Mr. Speaker, this represents a 4 times increment of the current account surplus in just 1 calendar year. Mr. Speaker, this was not simply a gold policy. This was a macroeconomic stabilization policy designed to strengthen the city, build external buffers, and restore confidence in the Ghanaian economy. To reinforce these gains, government developed and is implementing the Ghana Accelerated National Reserve Accumulation Policy, GANRAP, with the objective of increasing Ghana's international reserve to the equivalent of 15 months of import cover by end of 2028.
If there's any person or political party that ought to be blamed for the shift in focus, concentration on numbers, and not the actual environmental cost of the report, and the cautious optimism expressed in the report, then it is Afenyo-Markin and the New Patriotic Party. And Dr. Zato must be bold to state that fact, regardless of his association with the NPP. That fact needs to be made. This debate was not started by the NDC. It was not started by Gold Board. It was not started by Bank of Ghana. The NPP, through Afenyo-Markin, read the document and decided that they were going to concentrate solely on the figures and not the environmental implications of our mining sector. A cautious optimism expressed by the Bank of Ghana, the IMF. So that is not the doing of the National Democratic Congress, and we have not compelled anybody to concentrate on just the figures. Now to the substantive issue before us today, and that has to do with the claims being made by, I don't want to believe it is the entirety of the New Patriotic Party, because I have friends in the NPP. I have spoken to a number of them. And even they themselves has expressed concern about the modus operandi of their minority leader. Many of them think that this is personally driven with benefits they are still trying to understand, or the hope of benefits. Okay, if you look at the conduct of this micro-minority in Parliament, anytime there is a specific issue, their ranking address press conference on that specific issue. I'm not saying standard. I said address the press conference. Either from the military reverend, or when the budget is read, or even the annual statement of the Bank of Ghana was issued. Who read the press conference? They are ranking. So the strategy behind this particular press conference should tell you the personality nature of it, especially when an interview was granted and the chief executive officer of the Gold Board came to respond to the interview, and that informed the decision of the minority, especially Afenyo-Markin, to organize a press conference the following day in Parliament.
The discussion is about accountability to the people. When we started the gold purchase program in the year 2024, according to the IMF, we made some losses. Our brothers on the other side took to the streets and pontificated that we cannot sell gold and make losses, that it is highly incompetent for a government to sell gold and make losses. That was the general argument. My brother Sami Gyamfi was one of the leading communicators, mounting platforms after platform to tell Ghanaians that the Akufo-Addo government has failed because it sold gold and made losses. That is the onset of the argument. They got the opportunity to govern and proceeded to build on the gold policy the NPP innovated or invented. This time, they passed a law which granted all powers in the gold value chain to Gold Board, from buying to selling to assaying to grading to weighing, everything to Gold Board. In fact, to the extent that no singular competitor can operate in the gold space. Gold Board is the only person that can buy gold in this country. Remember, in our time, there were competitors when the NPP was doing the gold for oil and the gold for reserve programs, and PMMC was buying gold. It was a liberal market. PMMC was just one of many buyers. But in this case, Gold Board is the only buyer. Now, Bank of Ghana is the financier, and Bank of Ghana advances 133 billion Ghana cedis. 133 billion Ghana cedis. Out of that amount, Gold Board went out to buy gold. So let's do a very simple analysis. Let's say Bank of Ghana gives Gold Board 133 billion Ghana cedis and says that bring me 100 tons of gold. Gold Board.
Which is with regards to the AMPA. I don't know whether to call it attention or but whatever you want to determine. We've been following this too all the week. It's been a banter back and forth. But you're still live from the Morning Focus, coming to you live from our studios on the 10th Avenue Extension, Great Estate, Nongwa, Adogono. For decades, Ghana political conversation has been dominated by accusation of corruption, misuse of public resources, political patronage, and a familiar blame game between successive governments. But we are beginning to see a genuine shift in the country's political culture, from stronger public scrutiny and increased demand for transparency to investigations, parliamentary oversight, and growing citizens' engagement. Accountability appears to be taking a more prominent place in Ghana's governance debates. But one critical question remains: are we witnessing a real transformation in political accountability, or simple another cycle where the standard applies to one government change when political power changes hands? And joining us this morning to have this conversation with us is one person who anytime he's in the studio, you know, he will do his things, and that's Don Winers, a communication team member of the NDC. Don, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
How are you doing?
Oh, by His grace.
Grace is keeping you alive.
Yes, God has been good.
Now, let me ask this simple, because I know you're pressed for time. I know you have to leave us very soon, but in the next 40, 50 minutes, is Ghana's political culture really changing towards a greater accountability, transparency, and responsibility? Or are politicians simply becoming better at using accountability as a political weapon against their opponents?
Thank you. First of all, let me say good morning to the NDC party chairman, Honorable Johnson, the Stadium Ketia, General Mosquito, Achikuriga, Mensa Basa, all of General's office, my regional chairman, Honorable Ashimo, my regional executives, my constituency chairman, Ablekuma West, Chairman Bright, the Communication Bureau, Honorable William and my boss Almeno. Let me say good morning to the pastors and imams in this country, the tractor drivers and their mates, and all Rastafarians. Right, so the truth of the matter is, the political culture is changing dramatically, not because politicians are spearheading it. It's simply because citizens are calling for accountability. If you look at the just ended election, the 2024 election, corruption and accountability dominated the campaign. And it simply means that people voted for accountability. Ghanaians have been enlightened to the state that they feel like if they have given you a job, you need to account to them. That is why the NPP's failure to bring former finance minister to come and account to the people is a problem. To grow our democracy, we need to make corruption unattractive. But the moment political parties or political actors fail to call out those who have misappropriate or alleged to misappropriate any funds or misapplied any funds to come and account, then it becomes a problem. But I strongly believe that with the path our democracy has taken, accountability is not a political tool against any other political opponent or political actor. It should be something that is inherent, that we ourselves, we should know that once you have taken public office, you account to the people. If you are the one who counts church collection, I don't think you will count the church collection, and after counting it, you will announce the total amount you've collected. You will. Why? Because it is public funds. It is not your personal money. The fact that you got opportunity to count it and know the total amount collected, that doesn't mean that it becomes your personal money. So if we are guided by some of these principles, I think Ghana will be one of the best places to practice democracy, and we will indeed cement our status as the beacon of democracy in the whole of Africa.
Now, talking about being a beacon of democracy in the whole of Africa, but there's another side to the conversation, and that is accountability can become a selective when political parties demand transparency from their opponent, but defend the same conduct when it involves their own side. The result is a political culture where accountability sometimes sounds less like a principle and more like a weapon. So, but the real test, therefore, is not whether politicians can expose the mistakes of their opponent. The real test is whether they are willing to submit themselves, their government and their political allies, to same standards they demand from others. And that is where sometimes the conversation becomes a bit nakier. But if accountability is truly becoming part of Ghana's political culture, like you're saying, why does the definition of accountability seems changing depending on which political party is in power?
So you see, in the context of Ghana, NDC has demonstrated that accountability is one of their key pillars for governance. NDC does not even wait to leave power before they account to the people. So it hasn't become a political witch hunt platform, even if power changes hand. Now, on the other hand, the NPP is always failing to account to the people. And when you talk about it, they tell you that you are doing this because it is not you. The NPP is not on record to have owned out his own.
Oh, really?
Yes, they always show them. But NDC is on record to be owning out their own. Once you are found culpable, the law deals with you. Several cases, NDC has prosecuted its own appointees. Multiple cases, several cases. Unlike the NPP, they will show them until a different political party takes over. Then the rot will start coming out gradually. So I think as a country and as a people, we need to, like I said, we need to shift or move away from looking at let's protect the party instead of protecting the public purse. Because NDC has demonstrated protecting the public purse instead of protecting the party, whilst NPP has demonstrated protecting the party instead of protecting the public.
So are we becoming more accountable, or simply more political competitive in exposing each other's failures?
So you see, NDC is becoming more accountable. But on the other hand, NPP is not. Because like I said, NPP has not owned out any of its corrupt people, they won't prosecute their own. So it creates the impression that once they are not in government and Ghanaians are calling for accountability under their stewardship, then it becomes a witch hunting. That's the impression they always create. But if they were calling out their own, dealing with them whilst they were in government, I don't think any impression can be created that like the new political party or the party, the opposition party who is now the ruling government, is witch hunting any of the opponents.
No, but that's bringing me to this discussion that we have when it comes to government accountability. Should accountability begins with the government in power, or should opposition parties also be held accountable for their past records and conduct? Is that something we should be driving at?
I think it needs to run concurrently.
Okay.
Yes, but then, if the rocks recorded under the previous government supersede certain level, then it is better you deal with it because of the numbers involved. If not, a lot of them will go scot-free. If not, a lot of them will go scot-free. And state monies will be swimming under the beds of people. And no one can accuse them after a certain period because the evidence will be tampered with. So that's what I was saying. If NPP had gathered the courage to deal with corruption decisively under their stewardship, I don't think NDC would need to come and take up some of these things. NDC would have been just focused on its governance and dealing with anyone who misappropriates or misapplies.
Now, looking at the way things are going now, can we say that Ghana is can we honestly say that Ghana has a culture of accountability when political parties often defend questionable actions simply because they involve their own people?
We can't say that. We can't put a blanket statement on that simply because if you look at, let me make reference to the Suriname case.
Yeah.
If you look at how judgment was melted out, the principles of laws used were too questionable. They were too questionable. If you look at the appeals court's ruling, it shows clearly that all the things they use, the principles of laws they use, were questionable. So taking a cue from that, we cannot put a blanket statement that it becomes X or Y when a different political party. Like I said, if they were doing the right thing, they were going according to books, this conversation will not be needed. But because a political party has decided to use the judicial system or state actors against the opponent, it creates the impression that it is only when a political party is in power that its own will be left off the hook or something. But that isn't the case. I have said that if anyone is found culpable in any wrongdoing, the person must be dealt with.
If anyone is found culpable of any wrongdoing, the person must be dealt with. And so here it brings me to what matters more, in the sense that exposing wrongdoing or maybe ensuring that wrongdoing actually leads to consequences. Is that the level we need to get to?
Of course, and it should be something like, it should be a habit that exposing wrongdoing shouldn't be something that we should take a second look at it. Once it's wrong, you need to expose it, whether it's coming from someone within your political party or not. Like I said, NDC has demonstrated it. We are left with NPP to demonstrate it. Then we will know that our democracy is.
Unfortunately, the MPP person is not here.
Of course, but you don't need the MPP person to be here to talk about this because the records are there. You can attest to the fact that MPP has not prosecuted any of its own appointees for the last 8 years. However, the people who were even cleared of wrongdoing today are facing prosecution. So what did they see, or what criteria was used to clear them? You see, this is where the problem is. if they weren't cleared and they were allowed to go through the legal process, and today the legal process is continuing, no one will complain. But when you clear them of any wrongdoing and power changes hand, then the same person is now facing prosecution. Then it's a problem.
But that brings to question our own institutions. I mean, are Ghana's institutions becoming stronger enough to hold powerful politicians accountable without political interference? Because we have that mandate, that we have that patience of doing that.
You see, the institutions are still strong. The institutions have always been strong.
The Rambo style things.
The institutions of Ghana have always been strong. The problem are the leaders leading those institutions. Because those institutions are still there. But now we are prosecuting people. We are prosecuting people we are prosecuting corrupt officials, former officials. The same institutions are there. They've not changed. So it's not about the institutions being strong. It's about the people leading the institutions, how strong they are. If they can stand on their feet and say that, no, I will not succumb to any political pressure. This is wrong, the person must be dealt with, and so may it be.
If this is wrong, the person must be dealt with. So maybe a Don Winehouse, the communication team member of the ruling National Democratic Congress, the NDC, hanging out with us this morning. I mean, what would be the clearest evidence that Ghana's political culture is genuinely changing?
Right. So if you look at in the past month, I have read no less than 3 politically exposed and high-profile personalities in Ghana calling for a probe. And that is welcoming. That shows clearly that people have hope in this current government. And for that matter, if they feel that something does not add up, they can call for a probe. Let me list the people. Abna Ose Asare, 1. Citizen Kofi, 2. Honorable Afenyo Markins, 3. But you see, when you are calling for a probe, call for a probe with facts. Get the facts right. Don't just concord some story or pick and choose, merge it, and call for a probe based on that. You end up embarrassing yourself. You, like Afenyo Markins has done, he has embarrassed himself.
What has he done? Why has he embarrassed himself?
For holding a press conference that the gold board, according to the IMF, has incurred losses, knowing very well that in that same report, in that same IMF report, IMF did not mention gold board.
But who was buying the gold?
No, that is dishonesty.
Who was buying the gold for the Bank of Ghana? Who is the intermediary?
Good. If you buy food from someone and you finish eating it, if tomorrow, at the end of the year, you do your accounts, audited accounts, and you report losses, what has the person who sold the food to you got to do with it? Simple logic. So you see, he played into a wrong gallery. Honestly, I didn't expect him to do that because he's one of the few I have a lot of respect for. But after reading the report over and over and over again, my respect for him started shifting from him towards Abronye. Simply because I least expected him to be so disingenuous, to create a scandal for himself.
But were there losses?
There were losses, but it is not gold board. Now, I asked a question yesterday on another sister station. I said, I have taken my time to analyze all the arguments on social media and the media landscape. 1, the argument is that there are losses.
So who bears
the question is, who bears the losses?
And who caused the losses?
Good. The other argument is that Bank of Ghana is not mandated to trade in gold. So, if Bank of Ghana is not mandated to trade in gold, who traded the gold? Fine. Good argument. So my question is, Gold Board has published its audited financial report showing surplus as mandated by the Public PFM Act, Public Financial Management Act. He has published it. It is not showing any losses. And if you pick that and merge it or compare that to the IMF report, which did not state that Gold Board has made losses, it means that Gold Board logically has not made any losses. So then, why did Honorable Afenyo-Markin accuse Gold Board, knowing these two facts? Now, the second argument is, Bank of Ghana is not mandated to trade in gold. Granted, that is the case. I asked a question yesterday on a sister station that between 2022 to 2024, the NPP, which is saying today that they are arguing that Bank of Ghana is not mandated to trade in gold, had a policy called gold for oil and gold for reserve. They bought gold, they sold the gold. Is that trading? If the answer is yes, because as at then, Gold Board has not been established to trade in gold. But according to the NPP, they traded in gold and brought some forex in. So my simple question was, how did they trade the gold? Since they are the people arguing that Bank of Ghana is not mandated to trade in gold, how did they trade in gold when there was no entity trading in gold between the Bank of Ghana and the international market? Should we believe that gold for oil and gold for reserve were traded through Alistair Matthias' activity? If Bank of Ghana was not mandated to trade in gold, how did they trade in that gold? The gold for oil and the gold for reserve. How did they do the trading? And this is a question that anytime you ask, you see NPP communicators running away. They don't even have answers to this. So you see, in Akan language, there is a saying that Ori of one side, Ayasha one side. When you are chewing the fingers of a monkey, look at yours.
Now, can I ask this? If there was a loss, who should take responsibility? The management of Gold Board, the supervising ministry, or the government? Who takes the responsibility?
So, we were in this country when, under the NPP, in 2022 alone, Bank of Ghana made losses of 60 billion cedis. When questioned, the NPP, led by Honorable Afenyo-Markin and his team, that time they were the majority. The NPP told Ghanaians that the Bank of Ghana is not a profit-making entity. And it's on record. 60 billion. You spent 60 billion and brought in $4 billion. Someone has spent 22 billion and has brought in $17 billion.
How do we curb these losses?
Now, you see, the principle is that in business, if you want more profits, you need to incur some losses as part of your expenditure. You cannot go for fishing. Just dropping a hook in the river and expect the fish to come and carry the hook for you to get a fish. You need to put a worm or a smaller fish so that if the big fish is coming for it, you can hook it. That is the principle. Gold is traded on the international market.
Mm-hmm.
They use dollars. When you buy, you are buying it in cedis, in dollar equivalent. So which of the rates is acceptable to the buyer? Until we have the Bank of Ghana rates, Forex Bureau rates, interbank market rates, and any other rates standardized on the parallel level, these losses will always play out in international gold trading. And it's simple. And if we are going by the fact that the NPP told us the Bank of Ghana is not a profit-making entity, then so may it be. Then the Bank of Ghana it's better for the Bank of Ghana to make losses, for the citizens to have that leverage of moving around, for the economy to be stable, than under them that Bank of Ghana made 60 billion losses, yet they could not stabilize the economy. They brought in $4 billion. Someone has made losses of 22 billion, the same Bank of Ghana, and out of that we have received $17 billion. Which of these two must be dealt with?
So we've lost 1.79 billion US dollars.
For $17 billion.
$17 billion. That's what. So there was a loss.
Of course. But it doesn't sit on the books of Gold Board. So Gold Board shouldn't be blamed for it.
Well, it doesn't sit on for the politicians. They have their way of doing their own mathematics. But if there was a genuine financial loss, responsibility, as Don is telling me, should not automatically be placed on one institution simply because it is politically convenient. If you ask me, Gold Board management should be accountable for operational decisions, transactions, risk, as well as management and compliance with approved procedures. The supervising ministry should also answer for failures in oversight, policy direction, or supervision if those contributed to the loss. Government ultimately bears political and policy responsibility because Gold Board is a state institution, particularly where the decisions were driven by government policy or directives. So it should be a shared responsibility. From where I sit, that's, if you ask me, that's what I'll say, but there's an important distinction. Political responsibility is not necessarily the same as personal financial liability or criminal responsibility. So before deciding who should pay or face the action, we must establish whether there was actually a loss, which we've all admitted there was a loss. What caused it? Who authorized the relevant decisions and whether those decisions breach any rules? So that is it. We are looking for responsibility, should follow decisions, not merely the titles. Putting this back and forth with who did what, who did was the bottom line. How do we minimize the losses going forward?
So if you listen to the CEO of Gold Board, Sammy Gyamfi, he stated clearly that the financing model for their program has been revised.
So now we're finding solution to minimize the losses, right?
They have adapted what they call the prepaid approach in gold trading.
So more or less, I give you 1.33 billion that are 100 tons.
Of course,
you went to the market. You brought me 85 tons. It means 15 tons is gone missing. So now we have to find a way to solve this mystery.
The new approaches. When they are buying, if you are a buyer and you want to buy gold, you'll be buying the gold from Gold Board at a standard Forex Bureau rate, which is legal.
Okay.
Instead of they allowing you to buy it at the Bank of Ghana rate.
Okay.
So there will be no difference in the rate, because now it is not even Bank of Ghana that is bringing the money. It is the individual dealer who wants the gold out of this country that is bringing the money. So they will bring the money, you buy it, export it, you are an entity, your mark on it, you take it. And that's how it's being run. So you deposit the money in their gold board accounts, and they give you the gold and export it. So it's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. You can also add your voice this morning, hanging out with Don Winers. Don Winers. Because the point is that how do we deal with the mystery surrounding this off-taker issues that has come out? Because who initiates it, who approve it, what was the purchase price, what was the selling price, who fees and costs were incurred, I mean, what was the market price at the time, was the transaction commercially justified? Those are the things we need to identify when it comes to examining the control, rather than trading accusation of a supposed gold board loss. Should we follow the money, identify the transaction, and establish who authorized it? Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name?
Morris Nekatin.
Morris. Okay.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Morris Nekatin.
Mr. Morris, here we in 60 seconds, young.
Okay, Yami, Unchro. Now, you make an answer. Let's try one. I am not on my usual time. I was a Yabiba Nansan. Na me call me friend. Me call to do a student at your crew. Na the feminine Mokasa Mister month. Yeah, baby, I'm not all for other time. Sometimes they in your man. But that time they do the planning. A Kobasana, am I and so maybe in the time having. Then none of them throw. Na the chat is small on our edition. And people, papa. Papa, I'm up saying I am a now, Lord, I know when you people maybe in Hoya, stand the costume. Now, or the wine, or the wine. After you know what committed the fair, to be a no about what would that one for the Bian Sanwan. It may be now. It means I was a good God walker and son of one young one. Not some work and time of the na aya na enya se party de obi a party a wope ba se nyame nya ema waponya na betina education in here obi me dia aka ne ko wan hwe a ne ma o me train no school papa because and maybe educational do achiri o ka bibi no amanfo bebre etie nti ko ba ta o ba no me train no school e ma no ma na eni wo o bi se party wo pede be duru me bi a aya won ka ne kre o push no to the on e no sa be kan say obi no lokọ to dra wan fa bia ntan no onya nam ne come ata na studio ka o man panyi mama wa ha Ghana for papa o ka kire yen say o ba let's say o be fa wo mo ama 24 hours economy be ko wi bia panad o ba fi the stores ni ka stores no we ti say ye krom park en hagen say we see store bi wo the friend say Aswati market. Who do a smart matter? So this work inside the Diego. It means Fabiano, the phone on home function. It is also saw down a home function. Obino House saw down a near my papa would move. So, and this hospital or Mampany could foresee a cook year, and about the year. As now 24 hour economy. A big mamma, and some mamma. But the only idea, a born out of our party. Na ye Ghana for ye no to abanma de ko ye e be say shawo because o promise Saudi be nyina ye zero o ti gina how catch ye kura for say be be borehole na ye nyansuo de bu ko ibusa Can not one say. Boho and Dabana Beba. Me catch you on myself, Kuko, Madrid. Emma, for his dada, you come for the child, or you see himself who couldn't do. Then, when Frana of the Cohon, he left to come for, will be pottery from the Saturday. Mammy, my poor Casa also said one said, but the Mampayaki, and who called the by Yapon, who called, I mean, Yashima. What kind of policy is policy bill? So the policy guy to Kukona man call for Momaton of Yatoma. A cook what the policy guy, Sanoyano. Education will be maybe. Or my paying for 40 long distance education guy will get to the class that the best you could invest. I don't have woman invest that doors. Now the policy guy will first policy confirm. You need to call it. The car one son to call marry. Brother, no, 2 1 calculate TV news or marry or marry. What kind of policy is that?
All right.
But then for your near you, the blend so boss. You be 2 of my mama said.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Morris. He's for some time he's been consistent being the first caller. Honorable Joe tried to bypass him, but the numbers are activated. Also, Ubetumi Afra now sending a WhatsApp on 05315 NGB at Don Winers. Ever sorry. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Seidu at Chelsea, Yanko.
Abutre moderator. And then the Mudieni, the Chia producers and engineers, and the technicians, and the guests, and the orchestra as the mono. Every Michia Wakotia, and it baby moro, chairman, and a baby moro, or cock origin. Namechia Abbas was sabotage. National Deputy Organizer, the strategies. I may come as a mono busa question. And the Munyania was doing yes, Remo Yaba, my entaki. Yes, no, oh dear, I would the engineer by a man. As a Mabusa, and he said the Mogra a institution, Etimima a year. Oh, yeah, no, come on. Am I make glad and a better was the best. If you roll it, I'm a bit mamma mia. Roll it, no one pet catastrophe. I don't know to move the ministers in this room. Roll is free, so at a mess of President Kufo Basso. President Kufo, man, who's the MP before a Yibia, Yabaji public in Enumuniam, name moments reality in India. For the Bay Jumapadia. Roll is free, so President Kufo Basso. Master, Office of Accountability. Yeah, Udia Mudia, oh, yeah, Jamodia Munya Bog computer record number the one to be a mistake and what's the name. What the Office of Accountability. And that moves and job for Mubusa, the warrior, be the press and Mubusa, and now a President Kupo, who ministers here, who said, public, you know. Who's the way? As a President Kufoba was on the minister of Bonia. The boy just a boy. Public and minister where I born, minister where I born. Yes, I will say a bino. Don't go for what now, so I am allowed to eat no free PNC. I was the position Kurama no Eja. MP before MP so any a play or want to care football or Moya and Kanka or Modena Koi, a free will be a noir or more prosecutino. At a mess so by. At a mess a ban, would the heroics? I know idea about no crown or at a mess by. I was it no President Kufongo for a year, a bonny for Mukwe at a mess no, father for all. Rollins Buffy. No one can say no friend at says a member of Masabo. Was it with the Southeast? The Amran to send me was so no problem because they before the up in the moon. Because one thing up on every year, President Kupo, Nana Kufa to buy. Well, more, you know, the Breba will hear it and tell you now, President Kupo, more. That's why I'm saying, President Mama, President Kupo could deny, I say, Mama said. Ghana for ato Abama and Bebrana and says, or minus and only a me bonanti me Pasamaka assembly. Nana Kupa to buy. What is the open car? For private a Yukoye Juma. And also a tea, special for Squita. What did you way, Yagasayan and this me? At the better home. Uncle Visa, what the Bayer and this is what. As a man, I want to Pati Amidu, every Wakai. Was it even that your man does to me the Oka in America? Was it another way mother serpent of corruption? Corruption united to the one. And also, yes, I was about you. Way friends, what today, another Limia. Obey you to the strategy and the attitude. I used to see what I can tell you for Mukuta with the Sika Waka, while to me, and you are not the minister. Abuja, hey. Maybe every before I called Abba, near the Abedu. Okay, I'm not here. Yabakona,
and no, all the Bonatofani.
Okay, maybe Bonatofano. Nana Akufa to say, wow, by your one, but so now so say, the minister Abuja for the catcher say, to me. But there be a man to me beyond what's there for us. Now, a president in Akasa said that you want to be 1 year, Bonipia. You would defend her. What do you mean, cousin? My Bamusi, what you call it down the higher body. 8 good years. Not enough, no more just a glamour home. I've seen a Nina and Processiana. We about when this will be a bonnet, and that's yet the Ghana after year. One will see by 1,200 something. Nazumu. Mukova can 97 billion. Uncle two Aminabo judges for that. That people win out. Or more Kizu, Manfos, or Musa, Sensor, or Muba Abe. So we buy here, you get MPP, or Minimum, or Mighty Bonanti. Was saying I'm with the Yakugumwa. Yes, we are back. You're better changing. Let us say we are Bonia. Yen Yao, also back. Let us end this in a Bonia and we're done. MPP. Never again. Yamu come on Yamukasi. It's your guess, you know.
Oh, Joe, so I mean, come on, some more at chance. And Chibia, yes, sorry, Jimmy, so now a friend says, Dawn, a penny baby, and then Dawn, then you better pa. Well, Ephraim sends a message and it says, Chairman, what is the verdict from your end? Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my children of your Refi.
Yeah, good. How
are you from Tamale? How are you doing, brother?
Fine.
Yeah, Joe, let's hear you. Let's go.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to say that, first of all, I'll greet my partner members, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, National Chairman, and CEO of Google. Then before that, I also want to say that NDC is a party that has come to reform Ghana. After transformation is, of course, the Excellency John Dramani Mahama. What he's doing, I think most Ghanaians like it. I cannot say all Ghanaians, but I want to believe the majority of Ghanaians like what Excellency is doing. Now let's start with the issue of Goldborn. You see, the CEO of Goldborn, Sami Jeffy, is doing so well. NPP tries several times to tarnish the image of this young politician whose political future is bright, but they are moving heaven and earth to destroy him, and I don't think they will succeed. Sami Jeffy has dead NPP members. In other words, he told the majority leader that they should invite him to Parliament to come and explain, and any question NPP has is ready for them. So such a person, you don't have thoughts. You are just going up and down, fabricating your own stories. You cannot, tarnish the image of this young and bright politician. So for me, just as the previous caller said, FPP never again. He quoted Martin Amidu. who was appointed by His Excellency Nana Addo to head OSP. At the end, what Matamisi says, he described His Excellency Nana Addo as mother seplet of corruption. So the worst performance of Mahama will be the best performance of Nana Addo. Put it on the wall. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Joe, all the way from the Northern Regional Capital, Tamale. Also joining us, you can also join us on 053-715-8638 is the numbers you can also call us. Join us. We're hanging out this morning with a man called Don Winers. Don is really a Don. Somebody sent a message in there trying to ask me my take on this debate. I don't know whether to call it a debate, but I think that it's also healthy for all of us to know the truth of this matter, because this thing has been running like there's a wildfire coming all over. But you see, the truth is this: Gold Board did not make a loss. The Bank of Ghana did. Under a program Gold Board worked for. So this is how the thing is. Gold Board did not make a loss. The loss is sitting in the books of Bank of Ghana for a program that Gold Board worked for. Both the minority headline figures and Gold Board claim of no losses are read narrowly. True. Which is precisely why the two have been talking. There is a loss, 1.7 billion US dollars, equivalent of 22 billion Ghana cedis. But it sits in the books of the BOG. Now the question we need to ask is, how do we go through these transactions without running at a loss? That is where we need to find solutions. If we don't do that and we want to do this banter because we need to blame some institution one way or the other, that is where it becomes a political ball. Coco football, we banama Bobby. Or done. So, Ephraim, your take on my position, not my position, but that's the truth. Because I've done all the research. It doesn't sit on the books, and truth be told, truth is one. It's sitting in the books of the BOG. They contracted them. They have an arrangement with Gold Board to buy on their behalf, and I incur debt. It's a minute me time on a debt, and they say, "Wow, what's up?" I can't remember first what time on my time. But I think that we should all take. We all have to take responsibility. No, the point is that we all have to take responsibility. When things of this nature comes up as a people, to find a way, how do we deal with the reoccurrence losses anytime we have to do this transaction? Then we can go into it.
So you see, like I was saying, the truth is known by all sectors. Okay, all the parties involved in this conversation know the truth, but the NPP decided to change the narrative in the public space, creating the impression that Sammy James as the person I could turn gold and walk, which is a total lie. Now, after attacking his person, now they move to Gold Board, I could turn gold and walk, which was also a lie. You get the whole thing. So that is where my problem is. If the question had gone to Bank of Ghana explains to us how you incur 22 million loss or 22 billion loss or whatever loss, then we'll be on the same page.
Then we will be on the same page. Enchibia, yeah, best sorry, Jumedi, so Don S. Coin or Sir Coin. Supreme Court to rule on injunction application on legal vacation today. Power outages could drive up cost of digital services, NITA. Neil Lante Van der Poy apologizes to Sami Jemfi, NDC, over Gold Board comments. NDC MP Neeland Vanderpoy issued an unreserved apology to former MP apology to CEO Sammy Gyamfi and the NDC over comment he made during the discussion on the City TV. Vanderpoy said he had listened to his comment and reflect on the discussion before acknowledging that he failed to communicate his intended position properly. Osis Ajubrel. So that is it. Yabeko break. Na yaba nyake biano yɛde bɛtoa mo so. All right, so welcome back from the quick break. It's still live on the morning focus. It's now time for us to read a few messages that has come in. This one says, it's from Capito Gosumesha, says, in fact, to me, there is no way JDM and NDC can develop this country. So we will vote them out come 2028. And he sends his regards to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the incoming president for 2028, and Honorable Mavis Hawa Kumsin, incoming National Women Organizer hopeful. And this one from Eben. Good morning, I'm Eben from Kwabenya. Saglemi Housing Project was abandoned for 8 years by incompetent previous government. Thanks to Abam Papa for revisiting the project to be continued for Ghanaians. The nation builder is really back for the betterment of the country, and I can say Ghana is working again. Greetings to Honorable Dr. Julius Deborah, Chief of Staff, Peter Akwesi Mensa of Tema Shipyard, Honorable MC Agbo of Ghana East, and Nana Ampem, Eastern Regional Women's Organizer, still maintained. So those are the messages that has come in from our various viewers from Goso, Benshia, and also Kwabenya. It's now time to hear your voices. You can also join us 053-715-8638. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. Also, to me, Afraid Edward Ginger. And a feeder. Today is Friday. Thank God it's a Friday, a beautiful day that the Lord has made, that you and I should rejoice in it. Interesting times await us as a nation moving forward from here. Legal vacation, Supreme Court sets 21st, that is today, to rule on upon Nkrumah's bid to that story upon Nkrumah and the Supreme Court, Echo Jojo. The Supreme Court has scheduled today, Friday, August 21st, to rule on application by the Member of Parliament for Ofuasi AUB upon Kojo upon Nkrumah, seeking to suspend the conduct of certain High Court trials during the vacation, legal vacation. And only one of them, somewhere a war. A GS interdict 2 Bogatanga girls senior high watchmen of an alleged assault of a special needs student. Mine Workers Union protests delayed in releasing funds belonging to 19,000 miners, animals. Mining lease revoked on assumption, not evidence. Mental Health Authority to shut Kumasi Spiritual Center, housing 2,000 mentally ill persons. Hey, now I'm from Manko Hospital. I'm from Manko Hospital.
One of the challenges in our context. I mean, when we're looking at psychological disorders in our context, in our country, and even pretty much of Africa, a lot of people think that when someone is suffering from a certain psychological, disorder, it must be a spiritual attack. And so instead of sending such people to the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, the Pantine, the Ankafo, they will rather take them to a spiritual center, go and spend a lot of money. And some of these conditions also deteriorate, especially without treatment. So I'm not saying God cannot heal. I'm a firm believer of the healing power of God. I can't say for the other religions, but I know that God heals. But also God has given man wisdom, right? And it is this wisdom that guided men to put substances together to form what we call medicine. And there are psychological drugs. We have drugs that can suppress, even if not heal you entirely. Some people go and receive absolute healing. There are some that can suppress the rapid development of the symptoms. Talk about any psychological disorder. Even those that affect schizophrenia and stuff, that affect even those ones, there are drugs that can suppress them. So that people suffering from all these can return to perform certain level of normal functions. So instead of sending such people to spiritual centers, going to delay them, and the symptoms will worsen over time. Send them to, as a family, if you love them that much, even as you are praying for them, even as the pastor is doing their bit, put some money together, send them to the psychiatric hospitals. In fact, the Ghana Health Service is trying, says that most district hospitals now, regional hospitals, do have psychiatrists and psychologists there. You know, there are psychological units, psychiatric units in most districts and regional hospitals. So you don't need to come all the way to Ankafo or to Accra Psychiatric Hospital or to Pantan. You can send such ones to those clinical. If they need to refer you, then they will refer you. But please, try as much as possible to seek orthodox medicine also. It is not just spiritual. Right? There are some that are there are causes, you know, of these conditions, and because there are causes, there are also treatments for them. So, you know, I think it's a good thing that they want to close it up, and that the state should get involved to make sure that some of these persons, you know, are taken to the hospital to be treated.
All right, so that is it. That center will be shut down at the Ashanti region in Kumasi. Meanwhile, a study by the Center for Retired Experts, CEREX, has found that 96% of pensioners surveyed in Ghana are willing to work beyond the mandatory retirement age, pointing to a significant pool of experienced professionals who remain available to contribute to national development. The study conducted in February 2026 examined how retirees across the country could continue to apply their skills and experience productive activities after leaving former employment. So 96% of Ghanaian pensioners willing to work beyond the retirement age. And I think it's good. You don't get 60 and they say go and sit at home waiting for death.
Yeah. It's true. Professor Joseph
go home and go and die.
And go and die.
What was that?
Professor Joseph Osafo of the Aging Center in the University of Ghana, you know, they will tell you that if you become inactive after your retirement, the likelihood that you die early is young. So retirees who still get involved in some level of work have some probability of living longer than those who just go home, you know, doing nothing. That being said, this one is in two folds. We are in a country where a lot of young people are unemployed, right? So even as you will think of keeping the retiree, I mean, people who have gotten to the age of 60 to still be there working, then the young ones will also be unemployed. So what should we be thinking of as a state? That is why we must be thinking about creating businesses, all right? So as you are in a formal employment, you are in the government sector or private sector and all of that, try to also save a little money to be doing something on the side that when you retire, you can go and I know the government school teachers, most of them when they retire, the headmasters, they will go to the private schools and head some of these institutions. I know doctors who retire from the private sector and the government sector go into private, you know, practice and all of that. These are good things. As a state, we need to sit down and properly discuss some of these things because of the basic things we still discuss. We most of the time leave, you know, some of these very important things because we don't want to lose our old folks as well. They give us all the wisdom, they give us the counsel and the direction and all of that. In fact, the middle-aged people are the ones that mentor young ones. So we need them to stay alive. We don't want them to be dying early due to inactivity. But then also, what can we do as a state? What can we put in place so that people who retire from active service, being it from private sector, government sector, can get involved in, you know, so that the young ones can also come in and fill those positions.
The young ones coming in to fill those positions, 053-715-8638. Do you think 96% do we still go ahead to engage them in some employable position, or we should let the retirement stay retirement? 60. Konako. Yeah. If you prepare for your dead. It's 053-715-8638 numbers. No, we got some few more minutes. We'll be wrapping up today's edition of the morning. For meanwhile, the Technical University Senior Administrators Association of Ghana, TUSAC, has temporarily suspended its ongoing industrial action following renewed engagement with the Ministry of Education and other stakeholders. The suspension takes immediate effect, with members of the association expected to resume their normal duties with discussions on the outstanding issues continue. So that's a good news for us as a people, as a nation, that they need to go back and do their job. I'm going to go back and go to my Juma. Meanwhile, Gretco, the director of the African Sustainable Energy Center, Justice Ohene Akoto, has accused the Ghana Grid Company, Gridco, of withholding information about the cause of reoccurring power outages in the country. Mr. Ohene Akoto said Gridco needed to be more transparent about the technical problems affecting the national grid, particularly following another widespread outage that hit major part of Ghana on Thursday, August 20th. And it happens at dawn. The first one was 3:12 a.m. Yesterday was 4:30 a.m. Now, I'm kind of crazy.
Andra, my area, as a disco. On Saturday, 1 hour, we do bear 15. Oh, so if you're not home, your gadgets can with me, I say. You know, we hope that they will be able to resolve whatever challenge they are facing once and for all, because the way things are going, it's not really good.
It's not really good for us as a nation. So, Munya Bibin Fahum, my Gretco, do something about this for us. 053-715-8638. Numbers not also over to me after actually wide anopay. I mean, any ending common. Importers are also calling. They are also calling on. Don't forget, we have 10 more days. The 30th anniversary is just around the corner. 10 more days. 10 more days. The President, John Dramani Mahama, has urged religious leaders and their followers to exercise restraint, warning that recent tension involving religious figures must not undermine Ghana's long-standing tradition of peaceful coexistence among people of different faiths. He was addressing the opening of the 32nd biannual General Council meeting of the Assemblies of God, Ghana, at the Gomwa Fete on Thursday, August 20th. The president described the recent development involving a pastor and an imam as deeply unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. It was uncalled for. It's unnecessary. I told the BNS and people back home, Ghana looking some way, but Umoboa, Undaisa, concerts, no, Mboamo. No. Well, there's a sad news coming from Achiasi. Nanka person bisa Seidu, but Seidu wine Hosa no Hoye. The residents of Achiasia community near Aboso in the Prestia Fini Valley municipality of the Western region have been left in shock following the alleged stabbing to death of a man identified as Augustine Boam. One was reported to have been fatally stabbed with a pair of scissors by 24-year-old Kofi Yina, also known as Boba, following a disagreement believed to stem from a dispute over a piece of land in the community. It was kuno. Asasena ye wo na oba na ebi nhye ni bottom no. Ono so beja ho akono.
Hello,
good morning.
Mr. What said ni o mete say
say do na me se me bi so e ba na sen e na ba ya ayi obi de scissors awo obi esa na asase ho nsem na ba ko afemu ahwere ni nkwan.
Aye no kura.
Oh, say do la.
Aye no kura. What Achiase na? Achiase we Mr. Weston. Yeah, Achiase ye East. Yeah, ha mo jungle warfare Achiase.
Okay.
Akem Achiase ha ya akem. Enya ha de. Enya ha nese.
Enya Western there no.
East region.
Medas.
East region. Okay. Yankopon ka mo ho no onya mo kese.
Ya me son ka ho. The Minister for Roads and Highway Governance, Kwame Agbodza, has assured that government will sustain its inspection of road projects across the country until contractors complete and hand over the project. He said the inspection were not a one-off exercise, but part of the ministry's efforts to monitor progress, ensure quality, and secure value for money on government-funded road projects. Interesting. Is a wire wild or call one as a door-to-door?
Yeah.
As one ya, or as a Tarzan. One ya obeji, no I repackage, no I re-award. That is what he's trying to do. Meanwhile, the youth forum is still on. And me follow the kakra, but so sometimes I wish a caliber of people be original. Well, the Minister for Youth and Youth Development and Empowerment, Honorable Jojo Pariado, has led the Maiden National Youth Forum 2026 in Accra, bringing together young people and the heads of key youth-focused agencies under his ministry to discuss challenges, opportunities, and priorities shaping the Ghanaian youth. Can I ask you, what is the basic thing fighting the Ghanaian youth?
Unemployment. Unemployment and underemployment.
Is the Ghanaian youth more creative and innovative that we are not giving them chances to grow?
Ghanaians are innovative. Ghanaians are creative. Then again, your creativity, your innovation will stem from your environment. When I talk about the environment, not just the physical, right? But even the things you learn, the things you are taught, and that is why we keep emphasizing that we cannot maintain the current curriculum and expect graduates to be
innovative.
Right.
Because the same thing since Kwame Nkrumah time till now, we've never been able to change our university curriculum to match industry,
to match
to be able
to match the
times and the season, because the world is evolving. So I was thinking that we should get to a level where the academia and industry will be talking, and this so we will tailor the needs of the nation and say this is the direction we want to go. If we really want to go into industrialization, these are the conversations we have to look at. We have to look at the researchers sitting on our tables. What are we doing with the researchers that we are even professors are being paid for, and they are all sitting on the decks black and white. What are the things we are doing? So you see, it's like we're not diving into research. We are not pushing the science aspects of the nation. We just there. And this has been the old thing, evolved the old thing that keep recycling. And we're not trying to add any innovation to it. So it makes it difficult.
I give credit to the University for Professional Studies, where this year they said that the final year students, I think they were put into groups, and then their research is to solve a particular societal problem, and then they will be doing the exhibition. I don't know if it's been done or yet to.
Not yet to be done.
And I think that is good. So if you want your people to be innovative, to be creative, you create the environment for it. You create the environment for creativity. You create the environment for innovation. You get them involved in such, right? It will bring out that part of them. So Ghanaians are not lazy. It is just that we lack opportunities. We lack, avenues. There are no jobs. The Ghanaian is not.
No, the point is that when you say there are no jobs, now yesterday I was trying to pick up a point on the informal sector. The informal sector, there's some millions of money circulating in the informal sector, but we are not creating the enabling environment to skill them up to formal sector. Government is not putting money in there to skill those informal sector to formal sector. All we are doing is we want to open the tax nets. Government is benefiting from it, but the point is that if you go to other jurisdictions, go to Germany, go to France, look, those small informal sectors are bringing billions of euros into the economy. Now, Ghana's economy has this numbers of informal sectors, the women in the market, the truck driver who brings the goods from the Achiansi in the eastern region, Achiansi from the western region to the capital, and the woman who gets up very early in the morning, at 4 a.m., 3 a.m., 2 a.m. to sit on trucks. Sometimes You are coming and you see them sitting on trucks. I ask myself, oh, our mothers, our mothers, our mothers.
Yeah. At 12.
And if it's and we're not helping them.
Yeah.
Unlike in China, where government has taken interest in the informal sector, so making sure to support them, and it become consistent.
Yeah, because the young man knows that support for that space is not there. They don't want to go in there. They don't want to get in there and struggle, get in there and...
That's why everybody wants to go and work in the public sector.
Everybody wants to go to the security service, join nursing, teaching, and some of these things. So it is also about the mindset. It is not just rhetoric. I like what the youth minister is doing. It is not just rhetoric. The government should demonstrate sufficiently that we want to make this informal sector you are talking about more attractive for young people. You know, bring your ideas on board. We have mentorship. It's not even only about the financial. We have mentorship. We have people who are willing to help you, to hold your hand, to guide you.
And see, and the point is this: is there's something we are feeling as a nation, in a sense that informal sector. There's so much money. Look, there's millions of money that is running in that sector.
Yeah.
And the financial institutions wouldn't want to go in there. Now, check so. See where all the microfinance companies, do they go to the formal sector? No, they go to the informal
sector. Yeah.
The microfinances go to the informal sector. Why? Because there's so much money circulating there.
Yeah.
Now, every government should give them that push and support. That, okay, in 5 years, we want to move this number of people to the formal sector, regularize them, register them, give them. We remove that bottlenecks of people registering their enterprises and companies. Then we scale them. You understand?
Please take that again. The bottlenecks in registering
company. Because if I want to register a company, it should be a snap of my finger. I should get my registration done. Once you see, we are rather thinking that we are doing them a favor. Instead of, we are doing them a favor. Instead of taking it as they are doing us a favor.
Of
survivor now.
So that we can tax them.
That is it. So when you make it that rather you need them. So you make finances available that they can easily tap into those resources. The threshold on it is minimized. Who says if there's a loan which is going like 5%, you get thousands of young people going in and try and then being mentored and being measured, who have different companies running over, giving supplies and needs, and people will get jobs to do. It will bring the unemployment down zero. You see, look at China. Look at what they are doing. Even exporting people into other countries. They export them into the other country. They support them. They know beginning will be tough. You may lose, but still, they cushion them. I know Chinese companies that are giving $5 million every year to run the operation by the Chinese government. And we say we want to build our young people. Sometimes you sit back and ask yourself, what is wrong with us? With all these resources, with all this God has done for us, even the land that God gave and trust unto us, look at the way we are destroying it.
Yes. It's true. It's a worry. Sometimes I think about
Ghana.
But that is
Ghana.
Actually, young people, let's start thinking about ourselves, right? And not because the politics we do here is not helping the young person. The politics is not helping. And the young person too has become too politically polarized. And that is the strength of the politician. Once they know that you are on one side, they will use you. Right? But look, let's think about the young people. Let's create opportunities. Help these young people to try, to find something doing. Right, to try. We are in a country full of opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities for young people to take advantage of. But again, our mindsets, again, the things we expose them to, the things we are teaching them, white-collar jobs and all of that is the reason. Look at why would a lot of young people want to get into security service so much so that they will be stampede, others will die? Can you imagine? But
no, you see, the point is that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You see, we've never given our attention to the youth development stuff. No, it's not about seminars. It's not about seminars. I keep saying it's not about going to sit there and talk about it, but it's about having an intentional plan. Look, we can have all the seminars, we can talk all the talk we want to talk about, but if there's no any intentional, a deliberate attempt to scale them up, forget it. This is just a talking. It's a talk shop. But if we are deliberate as a nation, this is where we want to go. In the next 5 years, the medium-term plan for the young people, the short-term plan for the young people, the long-term plan for the young people. Now, tailor it towards with education to industry and believe that, okay, this is the number of people we want to raise. This is the number of people we want to scale up. Now we can do exports of labor. How do we look at the labor world and say, okay, there are needs here, pockets of needs, and we train people and skill them into that export. Go to Philippines. Philippines doesn't have ships, but what they do is watch every ship across the world. Watch every ship. If it's not a cook, it's a deckhand or it's a captain. So you come and dock at our port because we know that our guys have interest because of the port. We train them. We give you the mandate. Registered at our port, we give you the manpower. And these are the standard of payment based on the, and people will be free. We just there. I said sometimes you ask yourself, our people will travel and go and come and see something standing at the AIA, the Accra International Airport. Now a year from my dream say, pimp. They went on blah 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 blah. Pimp. There they go.
You know, sometimes I tend to think that some of these things too, they are deliberate too. They know that when they empower the young people, that politics no more you krumanu. That they are politics that they.
Because the point is, one man, do you think that will be walking on the sun shouting? No.
That is the thing. That is the thing.
You don't have the time. You don't have the time. But that is where we find ourselves.
And young people don't lose hope. If
no, there's hope.
Have some idea, go to a friend, discuss. Maybe our whole idea.
No. Right, you know what I want to do? I just need about 5 young people. 5. Different backgrounds. Just send me a message and say you want to be part of it. Register them, put them together. I'll give them the mentorship now, tell them exactly what we want to do.
Nice.
Trust me, give yourself the next 5 years. You see that young people and you ask yourself, how did it happen?
Nice. And now, let me say
this. You know what I mean? How did it happen?
I like this. This is what we expect people of middle ages to be doing.
Yeah.
Because when you read developmental tasks, when you get to that age, one of the developmental tasks is to train the next
generation. Give them the know-how.
Look, our bosses, please groom us.
Look,
but please, as fire say, you are training the next generation. Consciously do that. A lot of young people will benefit from.
But right after the church anniversary, we're going to hold a forum, the youth forum, the MBN youth forum will be happening. All you need to do is to register. When the forms come up, register. We're going to give you things you have to do to be able to scale yourself up. You don't need to wait for government to employ you. You have the skill. We can help you employ yourself. We can help you put people together and then be able, boom, we're gone. By the time we're also doing the small robotics here. Somebody's doing this. Put them together as a unit and we scale up. If we want to sit there and think some magic will happen, okay, I'm not going to ball to say, I'm a sense as on the side. That few people. Maybe I'll cast off money. Let me do this. How do you call it? Birthday. A very beautiful Abena on the screen. Let's wish her the birthday. This one is coming from Nanaya Wachua. So Nanaya says that it's a birthday blessings. Happy birthday, dear Abena. On this special day, I pray that God continue to bless you, guide your steps, fill your life with joy, peace, good health, and abundant grace. May this new chapter bring you beautiful opportunities, answered prayers, and countless reasons to smile. May your dreams become reality, and may God's goodness and favor follow you wherever you go. Have a truly beautiful and a blessed birthday. With love, Nanaya Mwachua of YB Trends to Abena. Now there is another birthday. Hey, so birthday, me refiat, and come said Danny Crown, a best man say, on the woman. Yay, Yamia Boamio, Yamia Boam, Yamina Das, all my Kayadi, and yes, I the uncle ne. Jimmy Mams are just a family bag, me name ya. Na my family bag could there. Na me ko. And maybe I'm going to go here. Because I chance, my friend Seidu. My friend Seidu na or mammy a ticket. No my bad chance. No my kwasha chance. And then the omu did na adia bechino. Na omakuma abafom. So at times na ya bumi ewie. Ya sese menim. We if a friend is saying Bafwa Swansea Bafo. Happy birthday, Harriet. Happy birthday to you, dear Harriet Swansea Bafo. May this beautiful new chapter of your life be filled with God's abundant grace, favor, good health, peace, and happiness. May every prayer in your heart receive an answer, and may your path shine brighter with each passing day. May you continue to grow in wisdom, strength, and purpose. May doors of great opportunities open for you. May your life be a testimony of God's goodness and faithfulness. Wishing you a truly wonderful birthday and amazing year ahead. Happy birthday, Harriet. May your best days be ahead of you. From your big sister, Bafwa Swansea Bafo Elizabeth. And that's it for our birthday wishes. 20 seconds we have to go.
Yes, we want to say a very big thank you to viewers, listeners, those who call, send us messages throughout this week to keep the show interactive. We say, may the Lord bless you. It is weekend. Going for a lot of social events, funerals, weddings, outdoors, engagements. Please drive safely. If you are in public transport, the driver is driving in some way, please, you have every right to call him out. Safety on the road.
Safety on the road. So we want to say, and that brings us to the end of another powerful week on Morning Focus. From the conversations that challenge us to the stories that inform us, the issues that sparked debates, the moment that reminded us of what truly matters, we say thank you for making us part of your mornings. To everyone who called, commented, sent messages, shared your views, stayed with us throughout the week, we appreciate you. As you step into the weekend, remember, stay informed, stay responsible, keep hope alive, and never stop asking questions that matter. From the entire team here at MBN TV, I am El Samuels, and he is
Bernard.
Have a safe, refreshing, blessed weekend. Same time, same place next week. This is Morning Focus. Good morning, Ghana, and God bless you all.